Will America ever be America again? In light of our most recent presidential election, the cultural and social division in this country has been inflamed. The nearly 50-50 divide in our America is alarming. We have got to find a way to bridge our differences and see them as advantages and not burdens. Our future, our children's future, depends on our action now. I believe that the arts can be this foundation on which we can build unity through freedom of expression. Hello, my name is Jordan-Topp, and I've been doing some research on how art has been impacting our society. Many people claim that our tax dollars can be better spent elsewhere instead of on the arts. They believe the programs funded by the government have no real impact on our community, and that there's no real social improvement the arts can have on our society. Today, I'd like to show you why that's not true, and why the arts should continue to be supported by our federal government, by showing you how well they use our taxpayer dollars, the impact these subsidized programs have on our society, and how the arts provide a way to bridge diversity and allow people to escape the narrow-minded perspective impressed upon them by their complacency and social setting. Did you know, despite the arts having a tenfold return and bipartisan support in our government, its funding is continually scrutinized? According to the nonprofit The American for the Arts, every dollar spent by the government encourages a tenfold return in the private sector. These organizations contribute more than $160 billion to our economy versus the $150 million earmarked for the arts by our federal government. They also create over 6 million jobs supporting the arts in our country. This is a nearly tenfold investment or improvement over our bottom line. This money also draws tourism and business to the rejuvenated sectors by the arts. The Constitutional Rights Foundation gave a brief history on the creation and support of the arts by our government. In 1965, Congress created the National Endowment for the Arts. The mission of the NEA was to foster American excellence, diversity, and vitality through the arts. I think we could use that now. During the Nixon and Ford administration, the NEA grew tenfold. During Carter, Reagan, Clinton, and George W., these administrations continued to support the NEA. So regardless of your political affiliation, the presidential support of the arts is unquestionable. Let me ask you, if all government subsidies and stimulus schemes had similar effects, would you not be a supporter? I know I am. In this case, not supporting the arts is like cutting off your cultural nose despite your economic face. Federal funding is essential to keeping the arts alive in our struggling communities, and it also helps maintain public programming Americans depend on to stay safe and informed. James Catterall, a distinguished researcher of education, studied 25,000 students over 14 years, and what he found was shocking. He found that students in art-rich schools made greater strides later on in life as citizens and workers. Even more surprising, he found that poor children and English learners benefited even more from the art exposure in their schools than better-off peers. I'd like to list off several federally funded programs most Americans aren't familiar with, or are familiar with. The National Endowment for the Arts, Corporation of Public Broadcasting, the Early Warning System, the Emergency Broadcasting System, and Sesame Street. I think we all know that American icon. The most trusted man in America, Walter Cronkite, was cited defending funding for the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, saying that it combats the vulgarity of commercial television. Take a moment now and imagine an America with no early warning system. Imagine a national crisis and no emergency network. Imagine your childhood with no Cookie Monster. This America would be far less safe and far less delicious. George Stoluto, a professor at Juilliard, states, "If we keep our mind open and our intellectual integrity intact, we can keep this discussion nuanced and inclusive regarding supporting the arts." He says, "The arts may be frivolous to those who build bridges to nowhere, but we need to prevent them from trivializing the debate. Spanning the bridge between now and our cultural economic future is no small matter. I believe together we can build an America that supports our differences, by providing a place where we can all come together and express ourselves freely through the arts. One of the main problems facing our nation today is the cultural division we saw during this election. Art has always been a way in which we can view the world differently. In a culture with such a divide, I think it absolutely necessary to fund something that can teach people how to look at the world differently. If art can open people's minds to a new perspective, perhaps they will be more receptive to a new way at looking at their differences. We have to find common ground to stand on, or we will inevitably fall deeper into this division. I urge you today to go, see, listen, experience something you wouldn't normally enjoy, and try to find the similarities instead of focusing on the differences.